Once again, it's time for another Bob the Sign Man episode. Now on to the show.
Well, hello everybody, welcome to this exciting episode of Bob the Sign Man. Today I'm on emergency power. Our power's out, but I do have my generator running. Earlier I posted some video on when I was making some stop signs, and I had tried out this new 1160 film, and it's got with the graffiti guard without the pre-mask, and it is so thin and so hard to work with that it just drives me nuts. Actually, I bought 3 rolls of it, so now I got to use up 3 rolls of it. I'm not going to waste it, you know, stuff's expensive. The other stuff that we used to use, the 1170, it's a lot thicker. You know, you don't have that problem. I never had problems with because we do cold lamination here. We don't have a heater laminator that's going to heat it up. So I got to thinking, what can I do? I wish I had the pre-mask on it. I keep saying I should have bought the pre-mask. I should have bought the pre-mask. Well, I got this bright idea, and let me get this ready and I'll show you what my idea was. So I have these signs that I have to make. It's your tax dollars at work, SB1, which is Senate Bill number 1 here in California. Our Napa logo, be work zone safe. It's kind of standard for this sign. We're using public funds. It's this tax that we have that we get from the state, and we have to use it to rebuild our roads and stuff. And you have to have this sign posted on it. So the engineers wanted me to make some of these signs. I said, sure, no problem, I can do it. And then we just post them on a post, on the roads that we're working. So I had 6 of them to make. They're 42 by 24. And I didn't have any 24-inch diamond grade material. So I just ran it on a 30-inch. And I'll have a little strip on each side I can cut down for reflectors, for roadside reflectors. That's not a big deal. But now we want these to last so we can move them around. And if we don't put an overlay on it, a protective film, the ink will fade. And all I have is this darn old 1160. And I didn't get the pre-mask. If you're going to do cold lamination like I do the pre-mask, believe me. So what I thought I would do is I started to lay it out, and I've been struggling, and on that last video I had somebody tell me, we'll only do about 8 inches or so and a little bit and it'll stick to it. And I tried a few of the things, and I would ruin a whole sheet. I did one time. I ruined 2 of these before I got one of them to work, and then one of them just had a bunch of wrinkles in it because that stuff is really horrible. So here's what I came up with. So I thought, okay, boy, if that just had pre-mask on it. And then all of a sudden I happened to look over and I go, you know what? I got transfer tape on my roller. So what I did is I went ahead and I covered the sign, and then I trimmed it out, then I put the transfer tape on it, and I thought, then I had to trim it again. I thought I only want to trim around the perimeter of the post one time. So I thought, well, let's try this. Let's also put a roll of transfer tape over the top of it, make my own, I guess you call it, pre-mask. So what I'll do is I'll lay this out. This is the shiny side, the non-paper side that's going to go, the adhesive is stuck between the paper. So let's roll out some transfer tape over the top of this, show you how it turned out. Boy, was I surprised. So I do have some glare on the camera because like I said, we're running emergency power here. But anyway, so I thought, okay, well, let's pre-mask it and see what happens. Get that out of the way. So the sign that I'm making is 24 by 42. So this is 30-inch. So my transfer tape might get off a little bit on it, but it's okay if it's on the edge because I still have 3 inches on each side. So what I did is I just went ahead and I ran some transfer tape over it. There's my compressor going off. So I don't have any wrinkles in it or anything, so it's good. I'm going to trim it up and I'll show you the next step I did. Okay, so here's my 1160 with the transfer tape over the top of it. And I'm going to go ahead and cover my sign now. You could theoretically, if you wanted to, and I did this on the last one, is I went ahead and put this on the sign blank, trimmed around it. Then I added my 1160 with the transfer tape on top. Then I had to trim it again, and I thought, you know, I'll just trim it one time and be done with it. So I went ahead and I just applied it right over it. Like I said, it's a little bit longer than my other, a little bit wider than my regular sign blank that I'm going to be using. So let's go ahead and cover this. And I tell you, this sure works a lot easier doing it like this. So there's my 1160 along with the transfer tape on the top of it. So not that I don't have to be that careful. You don't. It's a lot easier to apply it like this than it was the old way without the transfer tape on it. I'm just going to snip that little section off. I did about 10 inches or so, 8 inches, whatever. And just going to go ahead and cover that. Don't have to worry about that stuff folding up on me. I just fold it back. Okay, there we go. I have my little trim marks on here, so I'm going to go ahead and trim this up, and we'll put it on the sign blank. All right, now that I have that all trimmed up, here's my sign. And I'm going to go ahead and just apply it to the blank now, which this sign, like I said, just gets used temporarily. It doesn't have a top border around here. The fact is there is no border on it, so I do have a little white showing around the edges, and I want to make sure it overhangs enough to where when I trim it, it's all orange around the on the sides. And I want to make sure I have enough to cover down there, so we all look pretty good there. So this was my idea then on the a workaround for using that 1160 film. Like I said, you could have probably sheeted it first and then put the overlay with the transfer tape on it. I choose to do it all at once. That way I can just trim it one time and I'm done with it. So now, plus it seems a little easier to apply like this. I just peel back my diamond grade material. Okay, now I'm just going to trim around the edges of the sign. And we're back. I have it all trimmed around there now. You could, if you're not going to use your sign right away, you probably could leave that transfer tape on for a little while. Maybe if you want to transport a bigger sign somewhere or something. I wouldn't leave the stuff on too long because it does have a tendency to harder to pull off. So now all you do is take my little weeding tool, get the little corner of the transfer tape without peeling up the premask, but that's stuck, or without the 1160, but it sticks pretty good to it. So now I can just peel it off. And there we go. There's my little idea I came up with to try to help me get that 1160 film on easy. Boy, was that easy. So, lesson learned. If I'm going to use 1160, which I'll use it again, I'm going to get the premask next time. Like I said, I have 3 rolls of this to use up. And so I do have enough transfer tape to use too, because I haven't been using a lot of transfer tape lately because we've been digitally printing our signs instead of doing the old cutway with the EC film with the plotter. So, and I tell you what, there's not a bubble or wrinkle in it, and that other stuff, I used to struggle with it. So without the premask on it. So a lesson learned, do the premask. I'd like to thank everybody who kind of helped me out a little bit here. It gave me some ideas on what to do. I was able to get some of the premask on, by not exposing too much of it at a time, just working with a little bit. But that stuff is so frustrating to work with. So this definitely worked for me. So, like, again, thanks for all the help. And whenever you need help, that's right, just turn to the sign man. As always, thanks for watching.
Thanks for watching this exciting episode of Bob the Sign Man. Filmed in the beautiful Napa Valley, Bob the Sign Man directs, produces and edits all of his own videos. To learn more about where Bob the Sign Man gets his materials and sign supplies, check out www.bobthesignman.com. As always, thanks for watching. See you soon.